Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. If you're anything like me, you're probably spending way too much time in Tarkov looting, shooting, and trying not to just get one-tapped by some sweaty player slinging M61. But let's face it, Tarkov is an insanely complex game. Sometimes it feels like you're trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while someone's shooting at you. They offload some of that mental work so you can just focus more on the moment and surviving each of your raids. Today with this video, I'm going to walk you through the best websites and tools that every Tarkov player should know about. These are the ones that I use or have regularly used at some point in the last 5 years of me playing Tarkov. And trust me, they've saved me countless rubles and an immeasurable amount of time in game. Now, whether you're a newbie trying to figure out where to find that elusive quest item or a veteran looking to optimize your cultist circle, this video is going to have some value for you. So grab a snack, strap in, and let's dive into the world of Tarkov's most useful external tools. But before we get started, if you enjoy my content, and this definitely isn't your first video you've watched, don't forget that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you've got any favorite Tarkov tools that I haven't mentioned, drop them in the comments below, because it doesn't just help me out, it helps everybody else that looks at these videos maybe unearth some hidden gems out there. All right, let's get into it. Here are the tools I'm covering today in the order I use them the most. First up is the Tarkov Wiki. Some of you might be rolling your eyes and going, of course, but there's a lot of stuff in the wiki that people don't really realize that it's there to use. Next up is Tarkov Market. This is a all-encompassing tool that got started off mostly focused around flea market prices and crafting stuff, but it's got so much more to it now. Tarkov Gunsmith is third up on the list, and that is something to help out not just with weapon builds, but also it has a really crazy ballistic calculator that'll help you figure out everything from what your bullets are going to be doing to how they interact with armor. From there, we've got one of the newest additions, and that's Tarkov Community. That's something that is done in coordination with BSG. There's the Cultist circle calculator, while very simple, is insanely useful. Tarkov Pal, with a special shout out to their Discord for goon tracking. Tarkov.Dev, which is another flavor of Tarkov Market, and Map Genie.io. Each of these has its own unique purpose, as I named some of them already, or have something worth mentioning. And I'll break them down for you with some key points and mini tutorials on how to get the most out of them. Okay, so first up, we're going to start off with the Tarkov Wiki. Now, if you are a veteran player, I'm sure you know all about this. You've spent plenty of time here because there's a lot of insanely good information. I would argue that this is one of the best wikis for gaming out there, period, hands down. The guys that are behind the scenes here are insanely dedicated, and the community is rabid in both good and bad ways. So most of the details in Tarkov are fleshed out in here and proven. Very rarely will the wiki steer you wrong. But that doesn't necessarily mean people know what information they can gather. So I'm going to go over a couple of basic stuff that I get asked a lot as a streamer when I'm streaming. Hey, what is this? And the easiest question for me is just go check the wiki, because I might be wrong. I might misremember. The wiki's going to be right. At the end of the day, this thing is like the Bible of Tarkov, but without the need for faith. It's all facts. Whether you're looking for how to complete a quest or figuring out what that weird item you just found does, the wiki has all of that covered. Now, some of the best use cases are simple things like, let's say you find an item in raid, or you see an item in the flea market and it's worth a bunch of money. Let's start off with a T-plug, something not very crazy. Click on it, pulls it up. You can look here and see everything, not just the T-plug and the stats about it, but it'll tell you how many you need to find in raid for a quest and what quest they're needed for, how many you need for the hideout, which as of right now needs to be found in raid. I don't know if that's going to stay or not, as well as every barter and crafting that uses that item, whether it uses it or it turns into it, right? So this craft here makes a T-plug, this craft uses a T-plug. So basically everything that this item does in the game is available at your fingertips. So if you're wondering, why is a T-plug worth a lot? Well, it's probably because of a barter or maybe a craft. Now on the flip side, the same thing happens with quests. And the beauty of this is all of this is linked together, right? You know you need 4 T-plugs for farming part 2. So you click on farming part 2 and then you look and see what else you need here. It shows you all of the items that you need for your quest. It also shows you the rewards of the quest. It shows you the predecessors, which you can use right here. Like this is the quest you have to do before it. And then it shows you which quests come after that. So if you're doing farming part 2, you click on farming part 3 and you go, oh yeah, I got to go over to customs and do this stuff with this graphics card in big red. I better be ready for that as well. So it's this interconnectivity, this linking that the wiki does that is just incredibly useful for items and quests, which are probably the 2 biggest things I use it for. Now, one of the other big things is game mechanics. Now, if you want to learn how to, say, level strength, right? or any other of the many skills in the game, if you go and click on strength, not only does it give you every bit of stat, but it tells you how to raise it. Now, this does happen in game. Now, they did add some tooltips for this, but it doesn't always cover everything or explain it really well, not like the wiki does. And depending on who puts the entry in, there's also tips and other stuff that come into play. And there's all sorts of crazy little hidden gems here. Like if you go to the health system overall, right? Not just health, not health, the skill, but the health system. There's all sorts of stuff in here. I bet people didn't know that if you have a black stomach, that it deals 1.05 times the damage. Now, this used to be 1.5 at one point in time, and it's 0.7 on the legs and 0.49 on the arms. This stuff all changes constantly. That's why you want to be looking at this, because you never know when BSG is going to tweak something little. But it gets into all the other stuff, and you just never know what little gem of information you're going to find when you're poking through this. And at the end of the day, Tarkov is a knowledge game. The more knowledge you have, the more you're going to survive and the more successful you're going to be. Now, I could probably spend an hour going through the wiki showing you all sorts of little tricks and things, but then that would just turn into a tutorial for the game. So I'll leave you with this. Make sure you bookmark it, I do, and use it as a go-to resource for anything you need for Tarkov. So if you can't figure out what you need to do to unlock the purchase of an MDR, or what quest change you're hung up on, or maybe a barter for an item that a gun you want to get, it'll all be here for you to look at. Hell, you can even type in the bosses and look at the spawn rates of what they're at. Now, next up is going to be Tarkov Market, and there's a little asterisk with this. While a lot of the tools I'm going to show you are free and you can use them however you want, many of the better things are locked behind a paywall. It is a $7 Patreon. Maybe it's $6. I can't remember. $6 or $7 Patreon per month, and it unlocks the whole website for you. You can go over here if you don't have it and see what you do have and don't have. I honestly don't remember what it is because I have been a Patreon of GGDMs for, I don't know, 4 years. Whenever he's really fired this up and got going, I've been on this website and using it, not just for myself, but to make content. It's a great source of information that you can't get in the game. You can get it at other places now, but I've supported him for all these years. This isn't an advertisement. He's not paying me to do any of this. I just really like this site, and it's something I've stuck with, which is why I'm sharing it with you guys. But there is other options that are not paid for this. So don't jump in and go buy this right away until you see the rest of the video, because there might be some other options that are free, especially if you're somebody who only plays Tarkov for like a month or two at the start of the wipe. But let's get into Tarkov Market and look at some of the big things. First up is simply item prices and tracking. You want to look at, let's say, bleach, because you're crafting a bunch of bleach. You can come in here, click at it, and then see the trends of prices. Pretty flat, but if you go to a 7-day, you notice, like a lot of people who are around here that might be watch some of my crafting guides, bleach tends to bump up on the weekends. It gets a little bit more expensive, and while it might not seem like a big deal between 10 and 13k or 14k, those that are in the crafting world know that's a huge amount of profit and the difference in those little bits of money. And this is just one example. There are so many of these that you can look at and get to with different items and different things that you're getting out of them. There's all sorts of sorts. You can look at, hey, maybe I found this really crazy item, but it's not really listed on the flea market. I don't know what to sell it for. That can go for weapon parts, or, key cards are pretty steady in their price, but some keys and stuff that are pretty rare, you don't know quite what to sell it for. You can come in and look at a trend chart. So we'll go to a red card just because it's there. And you can see how volatile this is. It goes from a low end of 1 million to a high end of 4.5. This could be a product of the 1s of 10s or the 10 out of 10s, things like that. But this just kind of helps you gauge where you might want to list your card, especially if you're going to let it sit overnight. Now, some of the best, most powerful tools in here are one is the crafting calculator. I use this. I don't just, if you look at the prices, it gives you your average. You can set it to 7-day prices, however you want to do 7-day or 24-hour. I have it 24-hour because it gets rid of some of the weird outliers sometimes. But very often, if I'm doing constant crafts, I'm in here inputting my own numbers, which is one of the beauties of how he has this site set up. You have all the information at your fingertips, but you're also able to tweak that if you're good at getting stuff off of the market, or there's a barter or something like that. You can tweak these prices and really, really get more out of your crafts. On top of that, sometimes stuff pops up you don't even know about. You might come to the workbench, sort by profit per hour, and see, oh my God, broken LCDs are making a bunch of money. You don't have to ask why. You can just see that it's going. We can go look and make sure the broken LCD isn't like crazy and we didn't get tricked by some spike in prices that wasn't real, and see that it's a bunch of money. So there's a lot of stuff there with the crafting. Again, not going to get into too much detail. The other really good one is barters though, because at a very quick glance, you can see what a barter is going for. One of the most common questions is, which thick case barter is better, the Moonshine one or the LEDX one, right? Well, if you come in here, you look, this one right now with just average prices is 14 million, whereas the LEDX is 15.1 million. So as long as you're getting all your Moonshines for 230K, your vodkas for 27,000 or less, and your whiskeys for 39, you're going to do 14 million getting your thick case. It's going to save you a little over 1 million rubles versus the average prices for the thick. Again, this is just one example. There are so many of these, but it also helps you kind of figure out, hey, maybe there's a place in here where I can make money with a barter. For example, the weapons case. You come in here and buy everything, you spend 1.1 million on the barter, you can sell the weapon case for 1.6. Boom, you made some free money there. If that's your thing, it's all right here. And it saves you some calculator space and some spreadsheets, which I used to do spreadsheets. If you're one of those people, no hate, keep doing it. But it just got old and way too complex as the game moved from like 2020 to 2021. I probably have 5 or 6 times as many crafts as we did back then. So it is much easier just to use a tool like this. Now, there also is a Bitcoin farm calculator. This one isn't really super important. Not anymore. Bitcoin calculation just isn't that much of a deal. Just buy your cards, throw it in there. It's going to make you money. It's pretty much the progress of it. But there are some other really handy tools in here to use. One of these, for example, is like a quest map. Now, I've got all this darked out because these are all the quests I've completed, right? I've done a bunch of these. There's some that I haven't done, some of the crazier ones. But as you go through, you can click on complete and complete these tasks. And if you want to see, he links directly to the wiki. So I click here and boom, there's the wiki. You can see exactly what that task is. And if you want to look specifically beyond what he has on his deal. And it just helps you kind of keep track and see the chains that you need to do, or maybe see, hey, what's this quest I don't have yet? How do I get it? And it shows you what quests you need to do. There's also an item tracker. This one I don't use because it's kind of, I move through the game so fast because I'm a streamer and I play a lot more. So this isn't as super handy to me because I also have a lot of this memorized. But if you're somebody, your average player, and you're struggling to realize what items you need to keep, this is just a checklist for everything you need, either for the hideout or for quests. You know, you can select hideout and it shows you what you need to hideout, or if you want just quests, you can have that on here. And it shows you everything you need and how many you need. So you're not keeping too many or you're not forgetting something. So handy little tool there. The other really big one that I use quite frequently is the hideout, because it just kind of helps you keep track as you're building things. So as you finish it, like here's Bitcoin 3, you click build. My hideout's already maxed out, but as you're going through this, it shows you the requirements you need. It shows you the level, any other prerequisites, all the items you need. So if you're in raid, you can just pull this up real quick and go, man, I can't remember. Do I need light bulbs for something? Or do I need T-plugs for something? You can look here versus having to have stuff written down or saved on some kind of shopping list. Now, he has so many other tools in here that it's going to be worth you going and looking out. Things from loadout creators to, he's even got interactive maps on here. You know, you can go to woods and it's got quests located and markers. You can zoom in and zoom out, all sorts of tools. Again, I don't remember which of these are free and paid because I've been paying for so long, but I know a lot of this stuff is available for free. I'm pretty sure the maps are, not totally sure though. So check it out for yourself, unpaid, of course. If you like it, maybe give it a try for a month on his Patreon. And then if it's no good for you, go to something free. But that's up to you. I'm not going to try to sell this. I'm just showing you the tools that I use frequently. And at the end of the day, this whole Tarkov Market thing is like having one of those stock trading apps for real life, but instead of stocks, it's just overpriced bolts and random electronics that you're looking through and trying to make money off of. Now, this next website is a little more niche, but it's got a lot of really good tools in here, especially if you're getting into long-range shooting or something's confusing you with bullets and penetration and armor. Now, if any of you watched my armor guide video that talks about which armor is better, you know I use this website a lot to help show you different stats, but it's got a lot more here. The first up thing is the weapon builder. It's pretty straightforward. You can come in here, you can select the weapon you want. Let's go with a AK-10 AK. We'll go with an AKM. Okay, not even an AKMN. You can come up here and it basically it tells you what you need, trader what levels. You can set it for meta recoil, ergonomics, meta ergonomics, cash barter fleet, all these tools. But the nice thing about it is when you click build, if I've got meta recoil set and it's loud, it just shows you the parts. So it shows you what you need to build, and there's all sorts of options with how you can change some stuff out and go from there. But instead of having to guess and work through Tarkov's build system of checking parts, which you might enjoy doing that, this is just a tool to speed it up for some other guns, or maybe give you a base to build off of. That's it. But the real tools in here that I use the most are the ballistic simulator and the ballistic drop calculator. Now, if you know my content, you guys know Tower. Tower helps with this website. So if that adds any more, authority to it or trust, keep that in mind, that one of the most knowledgeable people about Tarkov ballistics that there is helping with this and keep this up to speed and making sure it gives us good information. But let's go back to the ballistic simulator. I'm just going to show you guys a quick example of this. Basically, you can see what your chances are of ammo getting through. Let's go with something kind of common. We'll go with 7.62 PP ammo. Get here and get it selected. So we're going to shoot 7.62 by 39 PP ammo. You can adjust the stats if you want. Don't do that if you want real numbers, but if you're like experimenting with stuff. And then we can come in here and look at different plates. So I'm going to sort, and I'm going to grab a Colt Locust class 5 plate because it's a real common one you're going to see. That's going to be armor layer 1 because that's going to be the first one that's hit. And then the second layer, we're going to go with Gen Aramid insert for a Gen 4 because class 3, it's high durability. And this gives us basically, if you're shooting somebody in the thorax, what happens? You click multi-shot, and it's going to give you all these fancy stats that you can look through and understand if you want, but it shows you down here your chance of killing people. The important number is the teal one, the cumulative chance of kill. This is basically what this says. On your 5th bullet of shooting somebody with PP ammo, you have a 5th clean bullet, not counting going through arms or anything like that. You have a 36% chance of killing somebody with a 5th bullet, and a 95% chance with the 6th bullet. So if you dump into somebody with a gun and you're like, oh my God, why did he eat so much? You can come in here and you can compare bullets and armors, or maybe find ammos that work better for you or plates that you want to run with. There's a lot of use cases for this. I'm not going to get into each of them, but I do use this a lot, especially when I'm doing some of the theory crafting I do, or I have questions about the mechanics in the game. The next one is a ballistic drop calculator. Again, a bunch of stuff you fill out. If we go with, the most everybody's favorite 338 Lapua, which I don't know why I'm struggling with that. Oh, that's because it's in a caliber 86 by 70 AXMC. You could screw around with some of this stuff, but you don't necessarily have to. One of the more important things is which ammo you want to do, so it knows which one you're doing. You can go to 1,000 meters and then hit generate drop table. Whoop, forgot to select the barrel. I forgot because you have a choice now. We'll go with that one. You generate a drop table, and this is going to tell you basically if you're zeroed at a certain point, how much bullet drop are you going to have. But not only that, how much damage is the bullet still doing and how much penetration. Because don't forget, in Tarkov, the further the bullet goes, the less penetration and the less damage it has. You can see that in a chart over here, and you can also see the bullet trajectory path here. So this works for every bullet in the game, and if you want to build your own dope charts, or you're trying to figure out how much overholds you need on somebody, or why when you zero at a certain elevation, maybe you hit high or hit low, this will have all your answers here to any question you might have as far as that's concerned. Okay, next up is Tarkov Community. This is probably the newest. In fact, it is the newest addition to all of these tools out there, but it's one that I spend a lot of time on just because I'm a content creator and I like to look through it. But there's a lot of people in here making suggestions or reporting bugs, and they're getting some positive responses from BSG. I mean, the roadmap is pretty much half full of stuff that comes off of this website directly from the community. And what it is it's a platform for submitting feedback, reporting bugs, and then voting on development priorities. This means your voice matters. As long as you get enough votes and you're not suggesting we add cats instead of dogs to the game, then maybe your vote doesn't matter that much. But this is where you can directly influence the game's future, and many people have been in the last several months. You go through here, and it's basically a simple post system with upvotes and downvotes, and some other complexities if you want to get into it. For me, I like coming in here and kind of just seeing what BSG has responded to, or what they've submitted. So I'll come in here, I'll hit those filters, apply filters, and you can come in and it says bring back flash drives and PC blocks, right? Super popular. Obviously, a lot of people voted on it. You can come in here and click, and we should be able to see what BSG's response is sometimes. Maybe not. Maybe they don't have a response for this one. Sometimes they'll have like an actual response or a comment while they are talking about it. So right here, this is being worked on and planned for patch 16.7. That's what I was trying to get at here when you see that they actually, and we've seen that in the roadmap, where they actually respond to it. So some interesting stuff there. That isn't it. That's just the stuff I really pay attention to because I like doing patch notes and letting people know what's going on. But it's a place for you to come in here and look at stuff. Maybe you've got a bug you found. It's really important. You put it out there. Everybody in the community is like, yeah, I hate that bug too. They vote for it, and then BSG prioritizes it. We've seen that a couple of times already. It's not bullshit. It's happening right in front of everybody's eyes. So if you want to be involved with the Tarkov development process as much as you can, as not being an employee at BSG, this is the place to do it. All right, next up is the Cultist calculator. It's pretty straightforward and simple. It's a handy little tool, but again, the simplicity of the Cultist circle and everything about how the mechanics work around it, I'm not going to get into that. Long and short of it, this tells you exactly what items to put in to save you so you don't spend as much, you spend as little money as possible and get the most out of your Cultist circle. For those who don't know, you got to have a threshold of 400,000 rubles, but it's not the 400,000 that you would sell to even to the vendors or what you see on the flea market. It's a magic number that's kind of hidden. Cultist calculators fishes all that out. It's really simple. You go to cultistcircle.com. You can be PvE or PvP, and that's because the markets are different. We'll go on PvP. You can set the threshold for whatever you want. We're going to stick with 400,000, and you're going to select optimal. And then it's going to spit you out 5 items you can put in there, and that will get you the 25% chance to get your 6-hour timer, which gives you super cool quest items and things like that. It gives you the base price. This is the price that is calculated inside the Cultist circle. This is the magic number that's hidden that you can't tell without basically data mining. There's other ways to it, but this website shows you that, but then it shows you the price on the flea market. So for example, this backpack that is for Bird Eye is base in the Cultist circle 180,000, but it only costs maybe 119, 120,000. Obviously double check this. Prices are volatile. And you buy that, you buy a PNB, 2 flash drives, and a Seiko TRG PGM precision suppressor. You throw those in your Cultist circle, you're gonna either get a 6-hour or 14-hour or 12-hour, whatever it is. You're gonna get one of those, but you're only gonna spend 236,000 rubles doing it versus the 404 value that you're 400,004 that you're over the threshold, but you only spend 236,000 to get there. So it's just a handy little tool. You can also select the items you want in here yourself. It's pretty straightforward, but a handy tool and something that will help you out, especially if you're hunting for those quest items. Now, next up is Tarkov Pal. There is some other stuff to this, but the primary point of this is tracking the goons. And there are many goon trackers out there, but they're kind of delayed. They get spammed by people. People troll. People have tried to do institutions. This was okay, something like this. But as you can see, this hasn't been done for 94 minutes. This is where their Discord comes in, and I'm in their Discord. The Discord is always the best place to see what it is. So I'm just going to give you a quick shot at it here. If you're in Tarkov Pal and you're looking at it, you can go to the PvE or PvP side. Some people still think servers matter. It just matters if you're PvP or PvE. It doesn't matter if you're Russia, if you're Europe, if you're the United States, if you're somewhere in Asia. It's all the same. It's just whether you're PvE or PvP. So if you come in here and you scroll down, people are posting screenshots, and this is why it's most reliable, because it's quick and easy, and you can see, hey, it's 2:22 a.m. and this guy just ran into the goons on customs. So pretty straightforward and simple. Even if I'm not hunting the goons, if I run into them, I hop in here, I throw a screenshot in just to help out. It's a community-led website. It helps folks out, helps find the goons, and keeps some of those errant reports from showing up. So that's what Tarkov Pal. There's some other stuff in here. If you guys want to use that, go ahead. The big thing is for goon tracking. Now we're going to move on to Tarkov.Dev. This is a parallel to Tarkov Market, but it's free. The UI is a lot different. I'm not super familiar with it, obviously, because I've used Tarkov Market so long, but I wanted to put it in here because, again, it's free. You don't have to spend anything to it. They do have a hideout calculator. They have hideout build costs. They have barters for profits. They've got the bosses. There's tons of tabs up here with tons of different tools. I mean, shit, they've even got a wipe link thing that tells you, every wipe and how long it was. So if this is more your speed, if this is something you want to use, here it is. I'm not going to get into great detail with it because, again, I don't use this website very much, but I really wanted to make sure I mentioned it because It's kind of the counterpoint to Tarkov Market, which I do use, and I don't want it to look like I'm biased. I wanted you guys to have the best available tools to use out there. So again, pretty simple, Tarkov.Dev. Go check it out for yourself, dig into it, and see if you prefer this over Tarkov Market. Now, last, and actually the least, is Map Genie. This might be pretty common for you. A lot of you guys might know what this is. I used to use this a lot. It used to be a lot better. My opinion, it's gone downhill, but if you're a newer player, it can still be really useful. The problem is Lighthouse, Ground Zero, Streets, and Reserve are behind a paywall. You have to pay to get those unlocked. And I'm not actually sure what that costs. I'll come in here and look real quick. I'm not going to look real quick. I'm not sure what it costs. If you're interested in it, I'm sure it's not super expensive, but let me put it this way. Pretty much everything on here is either displayed somewhere else to an equal level or better. They are way behind on updating things. There's a lot of stuff missing as far as loot. So if you come into customs, for example, we'll go in here, and the map, as far as how this tool works, is good. It's just the information that's a problem. You zoom in and there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily always show up. There are loot spots and things that I know exist that aren't in here. You know, for example, the new warehouses for the industrial area, they don't have much listed. They don't have any loot listed in here, and there's loot in all of this. Upstairs here, there's intel spawns and toolboxes. Down in the basement, there's crates, there's free loot, there's toolboxes. None of that's shown. And for a website, and this is even on the paid pages, the stuff you got to pay for. And this just bothers me because this is a website that prides itself in showing you loot and has a paid option, and they don't even do a good job of keeping up with it, in my opinion. I'm not trying to be too critical of it. I did use this a lot. If you're newer to the game and you want to use it for customs or whatever, by all means, sometimes this UI works a lot better than the ones that are on the wiki or some of the other websites. But it's one of those ones that people either swear by or they don't like. So I wanted to make sure you knew it was there because it is a tool, and I do get asked for it a lot. Do I recommend the paid version? No, because everything that's in the paid side, you can get somewhere else. And I have the paid version because I like to use these tools and see if they're worthwhile. And then I can tell you guys if they're not or not. They are or not. Last but least, I wanted to mention it. Some people are going to want to know about this Map Genie IO for Tarkov. It's there, but it is what it is. And there you have it. These are the external tools that I swear by when I've played Escape from Tarkov, or at least at some point I did. They've made my life a lot easier, and I hope they do the same for you. Whether you're a casual player or a hardcore grinder, these tools will level up your game. Now, another reminder, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your fellow Tarkov players. And again, if you've got any other tools you love, let me know in the comments. I'm always in the hunt for more ways to survive this brutal game. As always, thanks for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your raids, and we'll see you in Tarkov.